A few years ago, my brother would get a call on his cell phone around 2 or 3 a.m. every night. He would answer and it was just this hellish sounding noise, like static mixed with screams. He changed his cell phone number after a month of this and it stopped. After a week or so, it began again. The exact same noise, exact same time. Finally, one day, he decided to back dial the call. It was an old man that had no clue what he was talking about. Still, the calls persisted. If he didn't answer, it would call a few more times. No messages were left. He decided to say screw it, ended his contract with his phone company, switched to a new one, and got a new number. You guessed it, the screaming static calls continued after a short delay. By this time, he was terrified every night, unsure why this was happening. He back-dialed the number again and got a different person. Around this time, he lost his job and his phone. The calls stopped, of course. His phone was disconnected now. So one day my mom asks me to listen to this weird message she got on our home phone. It was the static screaming. We showed my brother and he was freaking out. He back-dialed the number again and it said the number was disconnected. Never heard from it again after that. When my sister was young, my parents got her a personal phone, a landline so that she could feel special. Yes, she was very spoiled. It was a prepaid landline though, so basically no one could call in or out if she ran out of credit, much like a mobile phone. Anyway, every night at 3 a.m. her phone would ring. She said there was a man on the other line, and she would get really scared and come running to my room. It escalated to the point that I asked her to please disconnect her phone before going to sleep, because it was becoming extremely annoying to get woken up every night by this person that called her. To be honest, I thought it was just these stupid scary movies she liked to watch. Eventually, she just got rid of the phone. In any case, I recall this stopping. A few years ago, we were talking about it and she confessed that her phone continued to ring even after she disconnected it, which is why she said she didn't want it anymore. She has no recollection of what the person on the other end was saying, or maybe she's just completely blocked it out. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I were sleeping together when I woke up to her saying, "What are you doing?" She sometimes talks in her sleep, but this sounded so coherent and urgent that it jolted me awake, and I asked what she was talking about. She then woke up and said she thought she saw someone at the end of the bed. Thinking it was just a dream or semi-awake hallucination, we thought nothing of it and went back to sleep. About an hour later, I woke up and saw someone standing on the bed with the sheets wrapped up and twisted to their neck. I didn't know what to do, but the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "What are you doing?" My girlfriend then woke me up. I had been dreaming the exact same thing she did and said the exact same thing she said. When I was growing up, one of my best friends told me about a very creepy situation involving him, his younger brother, and a man in the window. When my friend and his little brother were younger, they shared a bedroom. They're several years apart, but his younger brother was born with a multitude of different health issues, including multiple sclerosis, so he's confined to a wheelchair and cannot care for himself. So, to keep an eye on him overnight when his parents couldn't, they shared a bedroom. One night, my friend randomly woke up for no particular reason and happened to glance over at his younger brother, but noticed something very startling. A strange silhouette of a man wearing a top hat looking in through the window behind his younger brother's crib. The first thing my friend did was jump up and turn the light on, then ran to his parents' room to tell them what he had saw. When his parents came back into their room to investigate, his younger brother was having a seizure in his crib. A few of his family members say it was his brother's guardian angel standing in the window that night. My friend believes it was death. It's all still pretty unsettling to me. True story. My best friend died of cancer back in 2002. We were incredibly close in every way, and we spent the majority of our free time together. Almost a year after she died, I was in my apartment sleeping, and my phone rang around 3 a.m. I was very groggy and picked up the phone from my nightstand and looked at it. I saw it was my friend's number. I immediately became alert and awake and answered the phone, very curious. I said hello a few times, but all I can hear was a very loud static for about 30 seconds. Eventually, the call ended. At this point, I was freaking out and called the number back to get an automated recording that this number was out of service. I then called her mother's house to see if possibly her older sister may have had my friend's old phone and might have called me by accident. But there was no answer at my friend's mother's home. Come to find out, the remaining family was away in Miami. After they came home a few days later, I took the phone to them and showed them the call log. They were in disbelief. They went to my friend's room and got the phone out of the drawer where it had been sitting for months. Battery was stone cold dead. A man goes to a bed and breakfast, and while checking in, the owner tells him that the room next to his is undergoing some repairs, so don't open the door or anything. The man goes to his room, drops off his things, but then is bored. He pokes around the house a little and, with nothing else to do, decides to see the room that needs repairing. He tries the door and it's locked. He wonders why the owner would have even bothered him about the room if it's locked anyway. Whatever. He peeks through the hole and the room isn't actually being repaired. It's completely empty, except for a figure in the far right side of the room sitting in a chair facing the wall. The man stands up again, creeped out. Just to make sure he wasn't imagining things, he bends down and looks through the keyhole again. This time he doesn't see the figure, or the room at all, just the color red, like someone was blocking the keyhole with construction paper. Weirded out, the man goes to bed. When he's at breakfast with the owner the next morning, the man asks him casually about the repairs in the next room. The owner sighs and says, "Truthfully, I don't rent out that room because so many people have told me it's haunted by a ghost with red eyes." My former teacher was home alone when she was a child. It was in the 70s probably. A man knocked on her door and she opened her main door but kept her screen door locked. He said he was from the gas company and wanted to talk to her parents. She told him they weren't home, and without missing a beat, he tried to force his way into the home. When he found the screen door to be locked, he pulled out a box cutter and started to cut through the screen. My teacher ran to hide in a clothes hamper in her parents' closet. She said she sat in there for about 10 minutes before the police arrived. Thank God a neighbor saw everything and called the police, or she probably would be dead. And also, to put a cherry on this freaking creepy Sunday, they found the intruder hiding in the attic. I have 4 little cousins who never got to meet my grandfather. He passed away before they were born. One morning they ran downstairs for breakfast just like they usually do. As my uncle was getting their food ready, one of them pointed to the fridge and said, "That's him." My uncle, not thinking much of it, said, "Who?" Pointing at a picture of my grandfather, my cousin responded, "The man that comes and talks to us at night until we fall asleep sometimes." Hey guys, thanks for checking out Horror on Demand. If you could, please like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps me out. Until next time, thank you and take care.